Hey guys, good afternoon. Anthony here. It is April 1st, 2020. Time is about 12:15 p.m. and I am sitting at the hospital parking garage, as you've seen in my last several videos, waiting for my wife to come out. Today she has her 15th treatment, which is halfway through, and then an appointment with the doctor, and then after that we're going to need to go to get some groceries. We haven't had much success in the last couple of days getting a delivery window from either Giant or Whole Foods. So we're going to need to go there and don our masks and gloves and glasses. And at least I am anyway. I'll go in and procure the items for us and take them out. But so that's one troubling thing we've seen. Although you could go online here in Washington, D.C. and, put stuff in a cart and looks like the order's going to get placed. And when you go to place it, you need to get some like a delivery window, and we just not able to get that. So that's been a little troubling. And then also, as you pick items, they take them out of your cart, like milk and eggs are a premium. You could put them in your cart, and then when you go to check out, they take them out of your cart, which means they either don't have them on the shelf or they're not delivering those. Also, I asked her to put some 2.5-gallon jugs of, the water in the cart to see if they were going to be able to deliver that, and that wasn't even able to be delivered. So I'm noticing some issues here in downtown Washington, D.C., where I'm really not used to operating. So, even in normal times, I'm not used to operating here. There's just a lot of people in a small area, and it just gets me a little upset having to be here. But then again, I have to be here, so nothing I could do about it. So we just have to make the best of it, keep trying to go out and get items and take them back to where we're staying. So with that said, hopefully, I'm seeing reports, or I'd like to hear from reports from you guys on what you're seeing in your areas of the country or the world where you're from, and what type of problems that you are having procuring supplies. Because that, in my opinion, when that starts breaking down, whether you can't go out to get anything, or there's nothing on the shelves, or trucks are having a hard time delivering it or getting it to the shelves in time, that's when we're going to see an uptick and more people's patience running out, and that's when people do stupid things. So we've got to keep a constant vigilant eye out for those things. That's why I'm doing these videos, and I'm watching a lot of videos too to try to get a good understanding on what's going on. Markets, I don't usually follow the stock markets, except for, superficially, or videos that I watch. I do watch several, people on YouTube. I have been watching several people that really know, the markets and things. And you don't have to be a genius to know right now, with the trillions of dollars they're pumping into the markets, that the Fed and the Treasury are basically buying up everything. So everything's being nationalized, I guess, if you will. So that can't be a good thing. So how this is going to get back to normal, whatever normal was before this, I don't see it. I see a whole different world, brave new world we're going to be living in. It's upsetting to see, but I knew one day we'd go to bed and then wake up and have, our world change before our eyes. I'm a little bit concerned seeing a lot of earthquakes in the western part of the country. The 6.5 quake in Idaho, I think it was less than a day ago, is concerning. I watched a couple of videos on that last night. That seems to be that area where that earthquake was. One channel that I watched said that that's the middle of the magma center. It's the center of the magma deposit in that whole area on the west coast there. That magma deposit is very, very long distance, but that center in Idaho, that area in Idaho, that had the earthquake as the center of that. So can something big be brewing there? At this point, guys, anything is possible. I am going to think that if this is a time to have earthquakes and man-made events, we know that through the HAARP program, HAARP, I think it is, that we have been as a world, as a country, experimenting with weather control. I think that HAARP can speed along certain things. So whether that's being done, I don't know. Or if is this just natural? Could be. But there are earthquakes going on all over the planet right now at an alarming rate. Also volcanoes erupting. I have an app on my phone that tracks all that, and it's been going crazy lately with the amount and frequency of earthquakes. So what's going on with that, we don't know, but we have to keep vigilant of that, especially those of us in areas that are prone to earthquakes. You need to not only take precautions for that, but you need to take precautions for if and when there is a major earthquake in your area. There seems to be some talk that I saw with military troops moving all around the country. Actually, military troops moving all around the world of different governments. It's concerning to me as well. I know they're selling it as we're recruiting troops or mobilizing troops to help with the COVID outbreak and possible scenarios that could happen during or after, or as this virus gets worse in the coming weeks. That's all, prudent. That's seems to be normal on the surface, but the rolling out of tanks and heavy equipment is a little concerning to me. That something bigger might be going on that we're not being told. Whether they're expecting huge amounts of civil unrest and or an attack from other countries, from a terrorist group, from a combination of things. So that's a little unsettling to me. Right now, we are, I guess you would say, at a weak point as a nation. We even have military ships being infected and being pulled into port as I speak. Police forces, I think the police force in New York has over 1,000 infected, and then lots of police calling in sick. It's not a good recipe, in my opinion, for our leaders to let prisoners out of jail and then at one part of their mouth say, if you break a curfew or if you do something that they tell you not to do, if you assemble wrong or if you're out at the wrong time of night, you're going to be arrested. It doesn't. So where are they bringing you? If they're letting the prisoners out of jail, guys, where are they going to bring you and me if they think you're violating something that they don't like? That's troubling to me, because they may not bring you to a jail. They may bring you to some type of FEMA camp where they hold you. So we're seeing a lot of things long ago that were talked about. FEMA camps, large amounts of coffins in Georgia, world population talks at the Georgia Guidestones. And everything seems to be, if you really look at step back and look at everything as a big picture, you could almost see like a great symphony being played out right now. Crashing of the world's markets, currencies due to this outbreak. The media hyping it up and lying about certain things and carrying a certain narrative about this outbreak concerns me. How they still are going after Trump, the sitting president, and trying to discredit him or make him look bad is concerning to me. There's so many things that are concerning that it boggles my mind. And it gets to the point where you don't know. You could only do what you can do in your sphere of operation. Everything else is out of our hands. We could yell and scream all we want, but this has been cast upon us right now. And so we have to make the best of it. I personally think, as I said in other videos, that evil is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to manifest itself both in the physical realm and the spiritual realm. The spiritual more. It's going to manifest itself. So we need to be understanding that that's taking place as well. This is a huge disaster that has been cast upon us. And I don't think China's motives are good concerning this country. I think China is positioning itself to become the de facto leading world power. I don't trust Russia. I don't trust terrorist groups that past administrations have helped fund and put together. I don't trust them because I know that there are many Russians here, Russian military here in this country. It's a known fact that they're operating here. Russian Spetsnaz. If you really dig in deep, you could find out that there are Russian Spetsnaz or special forces here in the United States, donning American clothing and dressed in American garb. For what for? You tell me. We know there are many Chinese here, spies, maybe Chinese military as well. We know there's lots of terrorists here. We know there's lots of gangs here operating behind, in our country. We know there's lots of bad, corrupt politicians that have let all this happen and have turned a blind eye to it. So when you put everything together, guys, it's lining up to be a perfect storm. So what can a small group of special forces from another country, what kind of damage can they do here? Well, not being a military expert, but military experts are certainly should chime in here in the comments section. I would love to hear what you think. But just off the top of my head, if the Russian Spetsnaz are anything like our Navy SEALs, or the Chinese Special Forces are anything like our Navy SEALs doing covert operations behind enemy lines, we could be in for a lot of destruction. And they don't need heavy weaponry. They just need a few men in certain places simultaneously to knock out a grid, to destroy a water supply, to assassinate certain individuals in and around the country, important individuals, to knock out radio communications, to cause some type of power outage, whether it's sporadic but in major cities, but sporadic around the country, on top of what's going on now, can cause a tremendous amount of mayhem and pave the way for a larger attack that might be coming. Maybe that's why our troops are mobilizing. Maybe that's why the president is asking for, retired military to come out and help and assist. Maybe there's something much bigger that's going on. And that ties into what I've been talking about, this being used as a bioweapon to, spread around the world, especially in this country, and to make us weaker. And who knows if this is a bioweapon and the components of it can mutate a certain way, who knows if we could ever get over it. Who knows if it infects people that get it, you never get rid of it. It ends up killing you down the road. We don't know. If this is a manufactured bioweapon, we could be in for a lot of deaths in this country and around the world. So these are things that we should be looking at as we go about our daily preps and are putting things together, helping one another in our people that are within our groups, our family members. But at the same time, we have to think of a bigger picture that could be going on here. Will we ever get back to normal? I don't think so. I just don't think it's going to be the same type of America that it was a few weeks ago. I think we're operating in uncharted waters right now. I don't trust the media. I don't even trust our government as a whole. I don't trust them. I just don't trust them. Whenever Democrats and Republicans agree unanimously on things, I get a little nervous. I just have a lot of concern, let's put it that way. So we need to keep our collective heads on a swivel, not only for localized events that could go on with this disease as it progresses, but a much larger picture of what is the grand plan here, and what place do you and I hold in that plan? What part do we play in that plan? And think about that today as you go about your day this Wednesday, April 1st, 2020. Because a month from now, we could all be shaking our heads with our hands on our hips, saying, this is unbelievable. I would never have imagined that this could happen to this country. So that's my video for now, guys. I'm going to try to do another one from the grocery store and just give you a little bit of an insight into how it is shopping here in Washington, D.C. at least. So thank you for watching. Please comment or let me know your thoughts of what I just talked about. I'm anxious to hear from other people what their thoughts are on this, if they thought this through, because I've watched some pretty smart people that have been investigating and have been kind of putting out certain news, not the mainstream news, but certain news via YouTube and other avenues. And they're talking about these things, and it just gets me thinking that these are all possibilities, because countries like China and Russia do not have our best interests in mind. And when most of your sitting government is either socialist, communist, or leans that way, or is heading that way, we have much to be worried about. So this isn't something that's going to be solved with a few stimulus checks in our bank accounts. When unemployment is skyrocketing, businesses may be closing and not reopening ever. The markets being propped up unnaturally. How can things get back to normal? How can things go back to the way they were? It's impossible. So, again, guys, be curious to hear your thoughts on this. Anthony signing off. Stay ready. God bless. And talk to you soon.